Mr. Young, the defendant is your brother, correct?
Yes.
You two grew up together.
That's right. I am 3 years older than he is.
And you're fond of your brother.
Of course.
You're the older brother, right? So you look out for him.
Yeah.
You try to protect him when he's in trouble.
Objection. Beyond the scope. Also irrelevant.
Overruled. This is impeachment evidence based on alleged bias, and impeachment is never beyond the scope. Rule 611.
You try to protect him when he's in trouble.
Certainly.
Would you lie for him if his life was on the line?
I wouldn't lie on the stand, if that's what you're asking.
Of course not. Now let's talk about you. You testified on direct that you work as an assistant manager at the car wash on 5th Avenue, is that correct?
That's right.
Isn't it true that 2 weeks ago you were caught sleeping on the job in the back of the office, and your boss?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained. Rule 608b allows inquiry of specific instances of conduct to attack a witness' credibility, but I don't see how his sleeping on the job is relevant to his credibility.
Well, isn't it true, Mr. Young, that last year at the same establishment, you were docked a week's pay after you were caught taking money from the cash register?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled. This does go to propensity for credibility. Under Rule 608b I have the authority to allow this question to impeach.
Well, is it true?
I only took money for the bus fare home. I was going to pay it back the next day.
Didn't you falsify that day's reported receipts in order to cover up the theft?
No.
Are you saying that on February 3rd of last year, you did not change the reported intake from $527 to $521?
Absolutely not.
Do you recognize this?
I sure do. It's my personnel file from work.
Your Honor, I'd like to admit this into evidence.
Objection.
Sustained. This is extrinsic evidence of a prior bad act. Whether he stole from work is only relevant to his credibility, therefore it's a collateral matter, and the personnel file is extrinsic evidence. You are stuck with the answer he gave you under Rule 608b. But the jury has seen you read it from the personnel file, so you've made your point.
Now, Mr. Young, isn't it true that last year you were convicted of burglary?
Objection.
Overruled. Under Rule 609, A1 a recent felony is admissible for impeaching a witness who is not the defendant if the evidence passes the 403 balancing test. I don't think the unfair prejudice to the defendant substantially outweighs its probative value to the witness' credibility.
Yes.
And 4 years ago you filed a false police report and claimed your stereo was stolen?
I thought it was stolen.
But you pled guilty to the misdemeanor of knowingly filing a false report, is that correct?
Objection.
Overruled. This is a crime of falsity, so under Rule 609A, 2 it comes in no matter what.
Yes, I did.
Isn't it true that you were convicted of misdemeanor assault last year?
Objection.
Sustained under Rule 609A. That's a misdemeanor with no link to false behavior.
Yes, that's true.
And 7 years ago you were convicted of the misdemeanor of possessing cocaine.
Objection.
Sustained. Same reason. Rule 609A. Move counselor.
Well, isn't it true that you used cocaine just a few hours before you went with your brother to the convenience store on the night of the robbery?
Objection.
Overruled. This goes directly to the witness capacities of perception and memory for that night. Rule 611 allows the cross-examiner to ask about matters affecting credibility.
I certainly did not use cocaine that night.